Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. It is just about 51 minutes after 6 o'clock. I hope that you're getting ready for the day and you're having a fantastic day so far. We have some more fantastic information to share with you this morning. And I want to welcome the Managing Director, Americas of the European External Action Service of the European Union. Mr. Glynn joins us this morning. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Glynn. How are you doing this morning?
Great.
Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much.
All right, so you are the Managing Director of the Americas region at the EU Action Service, right? What does that mean? Like, what is your role? What do you do?
Well, there are 35 countries in the Americas, from Canada down to Chile.
Right.
And my job is to manage the bilateral relationship with each of those countries individually and the European Union, and the relationship between the European Union and the whole hemisphere as a region. So, for example, we have relations with CARICOM, we have relations with CARIFORUM. Trinidad and Tobago is currently in the chair of CARIFORUM. They were in the chair of CARICOM. That's one of the reasons why I'm here, because we have these dialogues with governments that have these leadership roles, and Trinidad and Tobago has that leadership role at the moment.
Okay, so you're here to have some high-level conversations to make sure that we all working on the same page. What is the purpose of these conversations that you're meant to have today and yesterday?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but the European Union has been in Trinidad and Tobago for 45 years.
Yeah.
And in those 45 years, we've invested more than $350 million in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think it's been money very well spent, because we're now in a different phase. It's not about donor and recipient now, we're partners.
Right.
And we recognise that Trinidad and Tobago is one of the leading countries in the Caribbean, and it's also a country that has a bright future. So I met yesterday with your Minister for Digital Transformation, and digital transformation is something that the European Union is very passionate about, because when we look at what we want to do for the next 7 years inside the EU and also with our partners, it's about the Green Deal and digital transformation. And the Minister, I think, has some very interesting ideas about how Trinidad and Tobago can move forward in that area.
Okay, so you have programs already plotted out for these things?
We're at a phase at the moment where we're starting to fill in the dots. So we have our financial envelope, we have our money, and we're now starting to discuss with partners. So one of the messages we have for the leaders in Trinidad and Tobago is that we want to hear from you. We set out, these are the areas that we're particularly interested in, and we know that everyone is interested in green issues and everybody's interested in digital transformation. So we're looking to the government of Trinidad and Tobago to give us some ideas and some projects where we can help as well.
And is it that you guys relate only with government officials, so it's government-to-government situation, or do you also invest in private sector as well?
It's mostly government-to-government, but again, we've moved because the world has changed. The European Union is not the big, massive donor anymore, and countries like Trinidad and Tobago have made amazing progress in the last 40, 50 years. So what we're trying to do now is that the money we have, we leverage it as much as possible and try to get private sector funds and funds from our development banks as well. And I think that's the way of the future.
Nice. So I understand there's an initiative called the Global Gateway Initiative. Can you tell me a bit about that?
This is precisely in this area. So essentially, there's a headline figure for Global Gateway, which is €300 billion, which is an enormous sum of money over 7 years. Only a small part of that would be grants, the traditional way that we do our funding. But it's about, as I said, leveraging money from the private sector and leveraging money as well from our development bank, other development banks, for projects that are future-oriented. And it's essentially about infrastructure, but it's not old infrastructure. It's not just about ports and airports and bridges and highways, even though all these things are important. It's mostly about the future, about the digital highway. So one example of this is there's a new internet cable that's going from Europe to Latin America, from Portugal to Brazil, and it's connecting up universities in particular. So it means that their data is going faster. It's cheaper for them to use this cable than to use traditional ones, and it's now making its way. It started in Brazil Brazil, and it's going the whole way around Latin America, and we're now talking about linking Trinidad and Tobago up to it as well. So these are the example of the kind of projects that we're funding. We think it's a very exciting way of showing that democratic countries that share our values as well can join up with us in the future and look to these kind of future-oriented projects, particularly in the digital area.
Tell me the perks to the EU of investing in projects like that.
For us, it's most of the world problems that we face at the moment, we can't do them on our own. So we need to invest in partnerships with countries, as I said, that share our values. We see Latin America and the Caribbean as being a real community of values, one that we've had a very long-standing relationship with. So when it comes to dealing with things like climate change, the next pandemic, this pandemic is nearly over, there'll be another one. Preparing for that next pandemic, we need to do that with our partners. And we want to make sure that our partners are investing in the same things that we're investing in as we move to decarbonise our economies and as we move as well into this brave digital world.
So you've been talking about climate, you talk about digitization. We know that crime and security is also a big ticket number. Can you give us some insight into some more of the things that you guys are going to be chatting about or having conversations about?
Yeah, I mean, this is not, it's not a major focus of our partnership with Trinidad and Tobago, but in the region, we do have a lot of programs that are designed to tackle drug trafficking in particular, and monitoring what's happening in the region as well. So these are things that we have a very open conversation with the government here about, but it's not the key focus that we have.
What has been the response so far from the government in your conversations?
Extremely positive. And I had a meeting last night with the Foreign Minister, Amory Brown, and with the Attorney General, Mr. Al-Rawi. Amory Brown and I are friends. We know each other from Brazil when he was the ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago there. And it was a little bit of getting to know each other again, because for the last 2 years we simply haven't been able to travel anywhere. And part of our job at the moment is stitching together those strong bilateral relationships we had before. Trinidad and Tobago is the first country that my team, who are here at the moment, are on. We're going to Barbados and St. Lucia after that. And the message that we have is that we haven't forgotten about you. We know that the last 2 years have been difficult for you, as they have been for us. And here we are at the start of our new planning process for the next few years. And we want to hear your ideas about what you want to do.
So for the last couple of years, you guys weren't able to have these conversations virtually or continue?
Virtually, we have had virtual conversations, but I think we're all sick of virtual conversations at this stage. And there's no substitute for coming here. This is my first time in Trinidad and Tobago. And one thing that surprises me is that the gastronomy of Trinidad and Tobago is not better known outside of the islands, because I could get very fat indeed here. The food is amazing. And I also, from our ambassador, I hear that you have an amazing one of the best cocoa products in the world, at Trinitario.
Trinitario cocoa.
Half the chocolate in the world is eaten by Europeans. And we'd certainly be open to eating more.
But you guys have Trinitario up, we have it selling in England.
England's not in the European Union anymore.
I forgot about that. My apologies. But before we wrap up, Brian, tell me, what do you see as the future of the EU and the Caribbean relations?
Look, as I said, we're a community of values. We're in a world where there are other development models being offered by other actors. Countries are free to choose whichever way they want to go. Trinidad and Tobago, as I said, it's when I come here and I see this country, which is amazingly developed, a rainbow nation. It's one that is very oriented towards the future. And for us, having relations with countries like Trinidad and Tobago that are very strong democracies, that share those values with us, they're the kind of partnerships that we want to have.
All right, well, Brian, I want to thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Trinidad and Tobago. I suggest that you have a roti before you go.
I was told I have to have a double before I go.
You have to have doubles. It's doubles.
Doubles.
With an S, yeah. But you should have one of those as well. You should have both of them. Well, maybe not both of them today. I'm not sure if you can handle both the same day. But I suggest that you try at least one of them today.
Excellent. I'll do that.
All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of the day, and all the best with the conversations that you're about to have.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, no problem. We take a quick break and come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.